played a game this week, Devin, that I thought was really fun. Let's go down to the table and take a peek at this one. This is Kronologic. It's a deduction game, and the way that I taught it was, I said it's kind of like Clue, but simpler, better. You don't have to like move around a map. You're trying to solve like a mystery. There's 3 different like chapters of scenarios. And then the first chapter, you're trying to figure out like who poisoned the detective. The detective died the next morning. But in the previous day, all of the characters were moving around this opera house as the detective was detectiving there. And so on your turn, you get to do one thing, and you're going to choose one of these kind of clue cards that either has a character on it, one of the 6 characters, the journalist, the detective, the baroness, the adventurer, the servant, or the chauffeur, or an hour from hours 1 to 6. So they were all in the opera house for 6 hours in the different rooms. And the rules of the game are they can't stay in the same room from 1 hour to the next. They have to move, and they can only move to adjacent rooms through doorways. So there's kind of like this location, and then the characters and the hours, and you're trying to figure out who was alone with the detective in order to poison him, that he would then die the next morning. And it's a pretty cool system where taking your turn is very easy. There will just be these 5 cards, or I guess it's 6, a card for each room in the opera house, and then you get to decide what combination you're going to do. So let's just say, and the scenario booklet would tell you where all the characters start out. Everybody has a sheet like this. Let me see if I can find mine. Yeah, this one was mine, where you're writing down all of the things that you know as you determine how many times a character went in a certain room, or which characters were in a certain room, maybe in the 3rd hour or 4th hour. So you're writing down all of this stuff, again, with the goal of trying to figure out who was alone with the detective to poison him, at least in the first adventure box. The second adventure box, or not, like chapter box, and the third one are sets of 5 different scenarios than that. But so on your turn, you have this behind a shield, so you can keep your clues like hidden from everyone else. Let's say I wanted to know where the servant was, or I want to know if the servant went in the grand foyer. So what I would do is I would take the servant and the grand foyer card, and I'm going to flip it over to the back that has like a key code on it and line up the images there. And then it's going to give me 2 bits of data. The green one you have to share with everyone at the table. So I would say the servant was in the grand, what was it?
Foyer.
The grand foyer 1 time. And that's all that I would tell them. Then I get a look in this second window that says the time they were there was the 6th hour. So I would get that 1 extra bit of information. And then everybody's writing this stuff down. And then the next person would go, and you basically just keep doing that until someone thinks they can solve the scenario. So if I wanted to know in the 3rd hour how many characters were at the stage, maybe I'd combine these 2. And it tells me there was 1 character on the stage in the 3rd hour, and that's what I would share with everyone else. But then I would know it's the servant in my personal window. So very easy to take a turn. You just combine either an hour or a character card, or like a kind of decoder piece, with one of the 6 room cards. And then you just keep going until someone thinks they can solve. And then they try to solve, they look in the booklet to see if they were right. If they were right, they win. If they were not, then everyone else gets to keep going. So very similar in that way to Clue, at least, but different in that you're not yourself moving around a board. You're just kind of observing and trying to see where everybody else was. I will say it was very tricky in my first play. I was struggling to track the movements of everybody pretty well. The middle section's nice because as you get clues on, like I got this clue from the detective that he went to the stage 2 times, which is helpful because then I know, okay, I can see he was at the stage in the second hour, but now I know he's going to come back there at some point. So all of the like visits here next to each character are going to add up to 6, which is helpful because there's 6 hours, so it can't be more than 6. But since they can move multiple directions, like in the second hour here, I have arrows drawn to 3 different spots because the detective could have gone here, here, or here, and it wasn't till later that I found out, oh, he was only in the gallery once, and he was there in the first hour, so that means he couldn't have gone back in the third. So that's kind of the crux of the game, is trying to figure out where everyone was when.
Sounds like light deduction.
Definitely. Yeah, it's very deduction heavy. It's fun.
Heavy deduction.
Heavy deduction. There you go. Yeah, I think everyone that I played it with really enjoyed it. I did not win this first scenario, but hopefully I'll get a little bit better at it. The 5 scenarios in this first box are all about the poisoning, so it's who was alone with the detective. The second box is even tougher, trying to figure out who is the Phantom of the Opera, and it's the one person of the 6 that was alone for all 6 hours, so they were never with another person. So you kind of have to probably reveal more information to solve that. And the third one seems crazy. The 6 characters are working together to steal some jewels, and one of the characters will start with the jewels in a room, and anytime they're in a room with just one other person, they'll pass the jewels to that person. And so as they're moving through the hours, they're going to be passed like many times, and you have to solve that one. You have to give who's holding the jewels at the end and in what room are they holding them. So they get very much harder from the first one, and we struggled a little bit with the first one, to be honest. So if you like deduction games, if you like things like Clue, but this is much better. I think this says 30 minutes on the box, and I think that's very accurate. I think we finished it in about that, and that's probably including the teach, and it's a pretty simple teach. On someone's turn, they can only do that one thing, and then it just kind of flows pretty nicely, and you're engaged on everyone's turn because they're going to be giving you a piece of information on their turns as well. So we really liked it so far. So that's Kronologic, Paris, 1920. First impressions, solid. I am interested to see if like the other scenarios, like if it starts to feel samey or if it elevates it and you do get better at it. We'll see. But that's kind of my first thoughts there. Devin, have you ever played Clue?
Yes. And it's been a very long time.
Yeah, it has. I remember thinking that game was kind of fun when we played it at grandma's, but you do like a lot of waiting on your turn, just rolling dice, hoping like, please give me a 6 so that I can get far enough to get into a new room and hopefully find something out and then guess, be able to make my guess. So you did waste like a lot of time just moving around the board. So I'm glad that they don't have that.
What I remember about Clue was that everyone was on the exact same pace toward the answer, and you're all like ready to guess at such a similar time. That kind of bothered me a little bit. And then also you have the people staring at you when you're taking your notes, and they know that if you write on the bottom of your card, that's the location or the weapon. So they're able to take where you're writing on your card and know what you're checking off.
Yeah, that's a good point. You kind of have the same thing here. I wonder if you could be sneaky if you thought that other people were looking at that, because if you give like the public piece of information and then you have the private one. So if it says like one person was at the grand hall staircase and you announce that to everyone, the secret bit of information is going to be who that person was.
And they can see how far left or right you.
Yeah, maybe. Or it could be if you use a character card and ask like, did they ever go to the stage? And it might say yes, they went one time, but then you get the information of, oh, it was in the second hour, and second hour is like top middle of your 6 sheet there. So yeah, you'd have to be a little careful with that here too.
I'm giving you the strat to win next time.
Yeah, just
Shouldn't have revealed the secrets.
Watch everybody's hands. Don't be a cheater.
Don't be a cheater. Unreal.
Yeah. But Kronologic, cool game, pretty cheap. I think it's a trilogy now. They have this Paris 1921, and then I think like an even more historical one that's like Cusco, like 1220 or something, and then I think a futuristic one if I'm remembering correctly. So anyways, this was the first one. I do like the cool system of just the key cards having all of the solutions on the back, and the windows giving you the clues. Very, very slick. Anyways, that is Kronologic.